Welcome to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. Thanks for joining us again. A bunch of curious cases today is the theme I decided to go with. We have the curious case of a local dog napper, possibly a story out of Jersey Shore we wanted to talk about. The curious case of Chrissy Teigan and cancel culture. I think that one's going to be interesting to dive into. And then if you watch ESPN, you've seen what's happened to Richard Sherman. We want to talk about it. And then for anybody who watched the finals last night, we're going to end with a little bit of sports. Crazy game 4, and we want to talk about the curious case of the refs last night. But first and foremost, the most curious case of all, Mark, how are you feeling today?
Well, today I had one of those delightful experiences. You know, when it's like it's lunch, you're starting to get hungry, and you think we have leftover pizza in the fridge.
Yes.
And it was about 11:15 when hunger started to kick in, and I was just like, oh my gosh. Not only is this problem solved for my day, it is solved deliciously.
Yes.
So I don't have to spend any money. I don't have to order anything. I don't have to wait. I'm good.
Yeah.
So it is those sometimes simple fridge leftovers really heighten your mood.
The best. Let's do this. Comment right now, cold pizza or warm pizza when it's left over.
We will keep because we've discussed
when it's left
this
over.
Earlier. We have opinions on this.
Yes. Let's do it real quick. I am diehard cold pizza.
I don't like cold pizza.
You don't like cold pizza.
No.
I love cold leftovers. You're kind of like, I don't really get it.
What's weird for me, I think reheated spaghetti is delicious. I'm not sure even spaghetti should be eaten like a day old. Like they should cook it and put it in the fridge and whatever.
Okay.
The best, and we might have talked about this, the best like leftover stale food is popcorn.
Oh, you've brought this up before. Popcorn,
leave it sit out. When I was in college, and he's a Facebook friend, I don't know if he's in the group or not, but he's a Facebook friend. We used to get like buttered bagged popcorn that was like cheap or whatever. You buy it at the grocery store too for whatever it was back then. When I would bring this, or like my parents would come down to a football game at Susquehanna or whatever, and they would bring it. My roommate would just take the bag out of the groceries and just open it and sit it on the windowsill. And he would just be like, tomorrow it'll be great. And I'm telling you, stale popcorn. But I know that's a different topic. We're talking about like leftover real food.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't wrap my head around that.
Haven't you ever like had a bowl of popcorn? Because when I pop the microwave popcorn, does anyone not make popcorn in the microwave anymore? Does anyone make real popcorn?
I don't know.
Except the movie theaters?
Maybe.
So you like dump in a bowl.
Yeah.
And then you but you don't always eat every last little. So like the next day when you go to it, stale popcorn is delicious.
Interesting. All right, we'll leave it at that. Stale popcorn it is. Curious case of a dog napper. A Jersey Shore woman answered the door with a dog that had been reported missing. So obviously, we don't have the entire backstory. However, it was said the dog was reporting missing. First of all, do you know what kind of dog it is?
It's a Chihuahua.
It's a Chihuahua. Do you know the dog's name? Because this is great. This makes the story.
Reggie.
The dog, that would actually, I'm kind of mad at you because that might have made the story even better. The dog's name is Gucci.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes. That's the best part of the story. So Gucci the Chihuahua was reported missing, and the officers came up to the door, and when the lady presented herself, she was actually holding Gucci the dog. She has not denied that the dog is like, she said, press whatever charges you want to. I am keeping the dog.
Like when I first read it, by the way, doesn't that look like a mugshot of the dog?
I guess I didn't notice that until you just said it.
All he needs is a number in front of him. When I first read it, I thought how ridiculous, and this is going to be a funny thing to talk about. And the more I thought about it, I'm guessing, and I only know I read what you read.
Yes.
This is a breakup.
Yes. Here's the best part. I don't want to interrupt you. By the way, so the lady mentioned in the thing, her name is Lauren Nicole Fisher. She's 27 from Jersey Shore. Might be a coincidence. We do have a Lauren Nicole listening, and she says a local dog nap. So Lauren, if you're listening, please feel free to comment. please feel free to share kind of your feelings. You don't think so? You think it's a coincidence that Lauren Nicole Fisher of Jersey Shore happens to be watching our show?
Yeah. So anyway, but here's my thought.
I'm telling you, I don't think it's a coincidence. Go ahead.
I think I'm being punked.
As Mark finishes his thought, Lauren, go ahead, please. If you want to say anything, if you want to describe your side, if you want to tell us what happened, please let us know.
I'll speculate first, and we'll see if
go ahead.
When you get, because at first I thought this is funny, this is ridiculous, and we're going to talk about this, and we're going to have it.
Yeah.
But the more, when you have people who are in a relationship, and they, like, there's dating people who buy a dog together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, all the time.
And then if there's always one person who cares for, not just a dog, any pet. There's one person who takes care of the pet a lot more than the other. There's often one person who loves the pet a lot more than the other.
Yes.
And so as I'm thinking about this, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If this is really, if it's their dog, but it's her dog, and the relationship is going sideways, and they're either taking time apart or breaking up, or whatever the case may be, and he's to be spiteful or whatever, is just like holding the dog hostage, basically just because when people fight, when couples fight, they do petty things.
Yeah.
And I could see her being like, you mistreat the dog, you don't love the dog, it's my dog, and you know, you have a dog.
Yes.
That people's attachments, I make fun of you people's attachments with your dog.
Sure.
I don't have a dog, but they are as genuine. I mean, people love their dogs. Some people love their dogs more than they love their kids.
Yeah.
And so the more I thought about this, if you're on the wrong end of this, if the dog is at his house, or the dog is, if you're staying and you're like, I'm going to stay with my friend, or I'm going to stay with my mom, and he holds, like, that sucks. So
absolutely.
As much as I first thought this story was funny, this story sucks, and I feel bad for her.
Well, so when we were deciding to talk about it, like, I put dog napper with a question mark, because this is the weird part in the report, is it's not reported stolen. The dog is reported missing. So those, to me, like, that's a very, there's two very different, because if you knew somebody who shouldn't have the dog took it, you would report it stolen. That's just my opinion. That's just my take of reading the report, reading the police report, and kind of going through the article. You wouldn't report it missing.
Yeah, that is very, and I just keep going back to, like, say this was your kid, and you were afraid, because she said, what was the quote? Like, you can charge me, I don't care, I'm taking the dog.
Yeah, so it was said, Fisher told the officers, I love, the best part is, like, I'm talking to her, but, like, I'm also, like, doing the show, which is fantastic. It first says, Fisher told officers she would take whatever charges and she is going to keep her dog. That is according to the report. That is what the officers put in the report.
And so, if this was a child, and you thought your child was somewhere with someone who was going to mistreat it or whatever, then everyone would stand up and say, good for you, mom, whatever. Like, dog owners who hear this, who think that maybe the dog was being mistreated, or maybe, that they would say, good for you. Don't leave the dog back. And I'm assuming now, I'm taking leaps as to think this is maybe she was being petty, and maybe it was his dog.
Who knows?
Who knows? That's possible. But the emotional attachment, it's not.
It's real, is the point you're making.
It wasn't her phone charger.
Correct.
It was a dog.
Yes.
And it is a real emotional attachment. Yeah, this story is...
Okay, so let's dive into this. So Lauren says, he has a pit bull. I have the little chihuahua. He's mine. I got him back, yet I'm the criminal. The cops did nothing when I called at 2 a.m. a couple of weeks ago when I reported him stolen from the house my ex and I lived in with the dogs. So she's claiming that the dog was stolen. However, the report that the cops actually posted and that they showed up, they're saying that the dog was reported missing.
I've never, I'm in real estate, and I talk to people that when you're in a relationship, but you're not married, you buy a house together, and now you break up. Like, when there's a divorce, the judge can tell you what to do.
Okay.
When there's no divorce, it's hard to force the other person to sell a house that they don't want to sell. So the legalities of being married and divorcing, like there's a judge that can divide it. If they were married, they could have sat down in front of a judge and the judge could have legally ruled you get the dog. But when there's no marriage, so there's no divorce, there's nobody to help people like this sort out their stuff if they're having trouble sorting out their stuff.
Okay.
So this is this situation sucks. It really does.
Well, this is the other part too. I think it happens more than people ever realize. Like ever. Like there's a lot of times where like there's a dog involved, emotional attachments involved, who gets the dog, who doesn't. It happens a ton.
I love the picture you found.
This is great. Yeah, by the way, that's not Gucci the Chihuahua. I just want to clarify it. I don't want anyone to think that that's not Gucci.
That dog is red.
I'm sure Gucci is cuter. Lauren says the cops couldn't get involved. It was a civil issue. Okay, so there you go. That goes along with what you were talking about. Lauren brings up the idea, like, do there need to be pet laws? Does there need to be like a separate list of pet laws?
Now I'm being ridiculous here. So say X is a wonderful, say X loved Gucci just as much as Lauren loved Gucci.
Sure.
Do we have a custody agreement? Do we have shared custody for pet? Does the pet go back in 50-50 every other weekend?
Interesting. So for my dog, like I have, for lack of a better word, like I have papers that I signed that show like I purchased the dog.
Correct.
Okay. So I mean that would kind of go along with what you're saying, right?
Well, no, I'm just wondering in a more amicable split.
Okay.
What if both people wanted to own the dog? And they both, can you go to court and get a 50-50 custody agreement?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't see why you couldn't. I would just say whoever signed those papers is going to win out every time. I would assume. Yes,
I would think so.
I would assume. So, Lauren, do you have Gucci's papers? That's what we need to know. Lauren, do you have Gucci's papers?
I cannot believe Lauren is watching live.
It's fantastic. So here's Lauren, and this. Okay. By the way, before we read this, I want to give Lauren a shout out because there's a lot of people that would not be like chummy, laughing, playing along, well demeanored. Like the world is just so like angry right now. Yeah. So kudos to Lauren for like really like diving into this with like a good heart and like playing along. He loved the dogs, but he was not willing to work something out. I've never heard of doggy domestics. LOL. There you go.
That is a bad direct-to-video movie right there.
Doggy Domestics. Or it's a great website to start tomorrow. Doggy Domestics. That might be it. Lauren, we'll give you a percentage, but don't take our idea. Doggy Domestics.
He was unwilling to work stuff. And I would say this, and having gone through this myself, my ex and I have a custody agreement with our kids that we've never been to court once.
Yeah.
We sat down, we talked about it. We adjusted it when it needed. The kids didn't like this, so we adjusted it, and then the kids got this, and we adjusted it, and it's like if you can't work out a custody agreement, there's an issue.
Yeah, and then so we'll just wrap it up with this. Lauren says yes, I have a receipt for him, vet records and grooming records as well. I'm smiling, guys. Y'all made my day with this. So this is fantastic. This worked out significantly better than we ever imagined.
I was ready.
I don't know if
the NBA refs. We should just stop.
I don't know if the show can get better. Can the show get better?
The show can ever get better.
Let's do this because we did. So whenever we're doing like the midday show group, we always have to go in to see like new members to make sure that they're in the hopper for when it spits it out and we get a winner. So today I go in to get the new members, and one of the new members that came up was Roger Clemens. and you were like Roger Clemens. I was like, and it's a picture of a baseball player as well. So apparently Roger Clemens is now a member of the group as well somehow.
Yeah, I get a good Roger Clemens story if you want to hear it, but we
don't have to. Let's do. It's up to you. Do you want to save it? Okay. The Curious Case of Chrissy Teigan. Thank you again, Lauren. Again, if you want to check out that story, you can see it on NorthcentralPa.com.
What? We should we're going to send Lauren a midday show t-shirt.
We should, just for being that awesome.
You're a favorite commenter ever.
Yes. Maybe we'll send one for Chihuahua too. Or for Gucci.
Do we have them that small?
For Gucci?
There has to be like Oh, that's what we should get. We should get dog swag.
Are you whispering because you're talking to Gucci? What's happening right now?
I don't know why I started.
I don't know either. Okay.
Can we get dog swag?
Probably. Oh, I have no doubt. You can get it on doggydomestics.com, which will be up and running tomorrow. So this is kind of, you and I have talked a lot about cancel culture. Let's do this. You want to spin the wheel first, or do you want to do this first? I'll leave it up to you, because I think this is one we could do for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Let's spin the wheel first.
I know yesterday we talked for like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, no, let's spin the wheel first. So stay with us. Thank you to Weiss.
Roger Clemens is our winner?
No, not yet. He may be someday. Thank you to Weiss Markets for sponsoring us. They've been with us now for almost 3 months, so we really appreciate it. And they supply us with gift cards, $25, $50, and $100 gift card on the wheel there over Mark's shoulder. You can also find Moon and Raven Public House. You can find Eat and Run Catering, and you can find the break room. Make sure you blow off some steam here before the end of the summer.
I don't want to confuse people with Public House. I don't know why
it's a pub. It's a pub. It's a bar.
It's a restaurant.
Moon and Raven. Yeah, it's Moon and Raven Pub, Moon and Raven Bar. Yes. Sorry. I didn't mean to confuse anybody.
No, I mean, that's what they call it. It's like, that's part of their...
It's called the Public House. Yeah, when you go by through, but
and I'm sure
I understand.
Old English or something. There's a reason why it's that. But yes, if you're like, what's a public house? It's a restaurant.
That's what it is. If you want a chance to win, join the Midday Show Facebook group. We just surpassed 800 followers. We're moving up the charts. Hopefully we'll hit 1,000 here before the end of the summer. Thank you guys for joining. Once you are a member of the Midday Show Facebook group, if your name gets drawn, Mark spins the wheel over his shoulder there for you for a chance at those shiny gift cards. And you also get a Midday t-shirt, one that we're going to send to Lauren for being such a good sport today. Did I forget anything? Okay, today's random winner is Regina Phalange. Phalange. You're going to pronounce the E on the end? It is a finger, but you're going to pronounce the E on that?
I don't know. I would probably say no.
Okay, yeah, don't pronounce the E on that.
Spelling bee kids, and they know the order. Or
the Greek origin.
They could look at a word and probably tell you how it's pronounced.
Probably.
What's funny, and not to go on a stupid topic, so my daughters used to read a lot.
Yeah.
And I could always
They don't read now. They don't read anymore.
Well,
go ahead.
But I could always tell when they were talking about a place that they or something that they'd only ever heard.
Yeah.
Like I remember when my daughter was whatever, and I don't know how she said it. I was like, no, it's Des Moines.
Okay.
Right? The town in Iowa, it's Des Moines. It's not Des Moines or whatever it looks like.
Yeah.
But it is funny when you can. Like sometimes we watch Jeopardy and they fire out some answer.
Yeah.
And they pronounce it phonetically because they've only ever read it. They've never heard it.
Yeah.
So the spelling bee kids will probably get this. What did you say? Phalange? That's what
I said phalange. I'm guessing.
All right. Well, Regina, I'm warmer. I'm 1 for 3 this week.
You're cold.
Do you want a winner today or do you not?
I would like. I always want a winner.
Well, you're going to get one today. Congratulations, Regina. You just won something.
No, you missed it. It was close though. It was worth the effort.
Right there.
Yeah.
Close to 100. That's heartbreaking.
It was a good effort.
I went with the cocky arrogant. Like when you got a kid stepping in the foul line, you don't want him going to the line thinking, I hope I'm going to make it.
No, it was a good effort. That was good.
You want him going to the line and say, this is going in.
It was valiant. We think this is going to...
That is how you describe me.
Yeah, valiant. We think this is going to be an interesting topic. For those of you who don't know, Chrissy Teigan has been, for lack of a better term, kind of like canceled culture. We can discuss whether or not she earned it. Personally, I think she did. But the neat part about this story is she came out yesterday and she basically said she's part of the cancel club. And it brought up kind of a whole topic that you and I have never talked about. We have always debated whether or not somebody should be canceled. So here's the person, here's what they did. Should they be canceled? Shouldn't they be canceled? Should there be a cancel culture to begin with? But one of the things we've never talked about is once society or social media, whoever it is, has decided that they are separating themselves from this person, what does that mean for the person? What are the after effects? How long do they go away? There's no rules to this. There's no societal standards of like, this is how long you have to go away, or this is. So the neat thing about Chrissy Teigan speaking up yesterday is she brought up this idea of like cancel club and how it is kind of depressing because like she feels like she can't speak out, but she wants to speak out and she wants to do better, but she also doesn't want to sound ignorant. And so like you can look at that different ways. Like sometimes when I was reading it, I felt like it was kind of like whiny, or she was just over it, or she was just trying to inch her way back into the culture. But the other side of it, like I kind of get it. Like if you're for a living, you're an influencer or you're a person that talks, and then all of a sudden like you don't have a voice, that could be like very mentally depressing.
Oh yeah, and there's what is Kevin Spacey doing? What is the guy that was on Matt Lauer? What is he doing?
Yeah.
What is Roseanne Barr doing?
Sure.
Who was the comedian? The redheaded
Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. What like?
So
do these people go to an island? She said
cancel club.
She said, "Is there like a reunion?" She's like, "If there is, call me because I want to get off my couch."
Yeah.
But
real quick, can I ask you a question to kind of like dive into it? The unique thing about Chrissy Teigan and what she did was like there is a disgust to what Chrissy Teigan did.
Like what she did.
So my understanding of what she did is she basically was bullying people in DMs on social media, direct messages. So she was telling people like, go kill themselves, basically like mocking them, making fun of them.
Can't wait till you're dead.
And like in like harsher tones and through private messages. So they weren't actually visible to the public. But this is like the neat thing about Chrissy Teigan's situation when we talk about it. And I used Cosby as the example for you. Like, she's not Cosby. Like, she didn't physically harm anybody. She's not Louis C.K. in the sense of like people had to make like sexual decisions like because they were worried things might not end well for them. She wasn't somebody who broke the law. So while I condemn what she did, she's not a felon by any stretch of the imagination. She's just a bad person who had bad moments. I've had bad moments. I have done things and said things that I look back at and I am like, why did I do that?
Well, I mean, we all have, but not like this. I guess
the question I'm making is like, if she's not a felon and she didn't break the law, how long is she out of the public eye? Like, how long is she supposed to be away? Because the weird part is like, for the people who broke the law, there's a sentence, and when it's over, you've served your time, and then you're on probation, and you get like with this cancel club, like with this cancel culture, you have people who didn't even break the law, and it's like it's just kind of like it goes on, and it's like, is it ever going to end? I don't know if it's going to end. That part I relate to her. Like I do, like there's a small part of me that does sympathize with that situation she's in.
Well, I think there's a lot of meat on this bone. That what she feels bad about is that she had this huge audience who loved hearing from her, and now all of a sudden no one wants to hear from her. So she's going through this culture shock of almost like the rock star or the athlete who had all these adoring fans and now just retired.
Yeah.
And the quiet is probably
crushing her.
But the whole cancel culture aspect in the pop culture phenomenon that society is, like they will decide. There have been people that have come. Mel Gibson came back.
Right.
Matt Lauer has not. And so there was once upon a time that for a brief time, Marv Albert was in the cancel culture.
Yeah.
Marv Albert came back and flourished.
Yeah.
There are Dave Chappelle has had a weird.
Yeah, but that I get where you're going with that. This is what I would say, and like in regular court, it's very concrete. So it's like this many days, this many years. Here's what you were guilty of. Here's all this. But in the court of public opinion, it's not concrete. Correct. So there is this idea of like purgatory for somebody that is in like the cancel club or cancel culture who has not broken the law or necessarily done anything that is illegal based off of the standards of society. So for Chrissy Teigan, if you're somebody who committed a minor, offense or a small demeanor, like, at least, like, well, 12 months in probation, and then maybe I can get back on track. Or if you're Chrissy Teigan, like, you're just sitting on the couch and it's like, does this end tomorrow? Does this end next year? Like, how long am I not allowed to, like, do what I would love to do?
Well, and one of the things that we have to keep in mind is Chrissy Teigan doesn't do anything special.
I get what you mean.
Celebrity.
She does cookbooks.
There's nothing that Chrissy Teigan does that 100,000 other people can't do.
No, see, that's where you're like, that's the most boomer thing you've ever said on the show.
Okay,
but continue. I'm not. Could you? But did you?
No, I didn't.
And could you do it with people liking you?
So
like, all I'm saying is there's a skill. There's a skill to what she did.
If my husband was as famous as John Legend, she has avenues.
Sure. Your brother's Mike Messina.
So, he ain't John Legend. So here's the point. John Legend was Jesus.
Okay, but you don't think there were Yankee fans walking around thinking your brother was Jesus for a couple of weeks? All right.
But here's the point. So, like, she's in society, she's incredibly replaceable. So, as
John Legend has one wife.
To John, she might not be replaceable, but to society. So, for society, it's when they like her again.
Yeah.
She has 35 million followers or something like that.
Yeah.
So when these followers like her, and if they're all like, you're a horrible, horrible person, I don't like you anymore, then it's never coming back. And these people will just find somebody else to like.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I don't know if that means like she didn't hold a value, or that she was just like everybody is replaceable to a certain extent.
Correct.
But like, there is still a value. Like, if people follow you and you make their day better, there's a value there. There's 35 million people that Chrissy Teigan could reach out to and maybe make their day brighter if she wanted to, that I can't. Like, if I want to reach out to 35 million people right now and make their day brighter, I don't get to decide that. Chrissy Teigan could. So I don't know if it's just as simple as like she's replaced. And by the way, like, I don't even follow her. Like, I know very little. Like,
I could not have picked her out of the lineup.
I didn't even know she did cookbooks until yesterday.
I oversimplified it, but we'll go to Kevin Spacey, who is an incredibly talented actor.
Sure.
I loved him in Usual Suspects. I loved him in American Beauty.
Yes.
But, like, he was on that show about.
He's amazing in House of Cards.
House of Cards.
One of his sneaky best performances is Margin Call. Go ahead, continue.
But incredibly talented.
Yes.
So, as a society, have we lost a great actor who we took? Yes. Are there other great? Has Hollywood fallen apart because now they're giving Kevin Spacey's roles to someone? No.
Right. But this isn't. We're not saying social media is falling apart because Chrissy Teigan. What I'm saying is, I think the discussion that you and I talk a lot about, like, I think we're a little anti-cancel culture. Like, we think it's a little sensitive. We don't think it's always wrong.
Anti-cancel culture, but we think it's way too sensitive.
It's way too sensitive. But I think one of the things that we've never talked about is, like, if cancel culture is here to stay, like, if this is what we're doing, like, as a society, and like, we can all pretend like we're not on our phones. We're all on our phones. We can all pretend like we're not reading, like, social media, and that we're all reading social media and gossip. This is the world we're in.
You and you don't get back to me for 4 hours, I can say you
were
on your phone.
You're one of the lucky ones if I get back to you in 4 hours. But the point I'm making is, like, if this is the world we're going to live in, maybe it's time for some structure. Like, how are we doing this? Like, once we decide to do this, like, are we willing to let people back into, like, the stratosphere of social? Like, how long do they have to go away? Like, do they have to break the law for it to, like, really? Because, again, I can't stress this enough. I'm not a fan of Chrissy Teigan, but I will defend somebody who, like, she didn't break the law. She necessarily didn't commit any offenses. But, like,
what are the laws about telling?
But if you're going to police bullying on social media, like, good luck.
No,
good luck.
I understand your point, but there's also an accountability aspect of life. And if you're going to be a horrible human being, and then you wake up one day and nobody likes you anymore, even if you had 35 million people who liked you yesterday,
sure,
then there's a point where, like, you know what? You brought it on yourself, and it sucks for you.
Absolutely.
Now, her question right now is, how does she rebuild her life? Maybe she becomes the poster child for don't be a jerk.
Possibly.
And because if you are a jerk, because there are people now,
See,
I probably include, I don't know what she can do for me to ever think that Chrissy Teigan is a decent human being.
Oh, see, but that's nuts, because like that, you sound like somebody who thinks they've never been a jerk.
But she,
no, just here. You do. You sound like someone who's never been a jerk.
I've never told someone I can't wait till they're dead.
And she
apparently said it to multiple people.
I have no doubt but you also don't have 38 million people bothering you every day.
That is valid.
Okay, so while I totally agree with you, did she paint herself into her own corner? Yeah, that's true. Did she paint herself into her own corner? 100%. You are exactly right on that. And because that is why what's happened has happened. And what I am simply saying is, like, as a society, I'm not, like, personally, I'm not all about keeping those people in their corner forever, because that's just not the world I want to live in. Like, I don't want to live in a world where people can't better themselves or fix their mistakes or try to be. And so, like, for Chrissy Teigan, again, not a fan, just somebody who wants the world. Like, I just see the world kind of broader, and I look at it and I'm like, boy, like, there is kind of a purgatory to cancel culture that I don't necessarily know if we as a society have figured it out. Like, if we truly understand, like, is this, like, how long should cancel culture last? Like, do people really need to be condemned for a mistake that they made? That's all I'm saying.
No, that's a very good point. And of course we haven't figured out. I haven't even figured out how to turn the lights on.
You don't need the lights on. This is perfect. Well, your problem is you keep turning on the lamp behind your laptop and it creates this shadow at you.
Shadow? No, I feel like I'm batting it like a 405 start, where the ball is, like, coming in and out of it.
I hear you.
I can't see it. Yeah, it is an interesting angle on the topic. We've never gone one step beyond the cancel culture.
Yeah.
And it is interesting that she has brought that up. I guess part of my, just personally me, is the people who are like, the people who drink and drive 150 times, and then they wreck the car and they hurt themselves and they hurt somebody else, and then they're like, I made a mistake. No, you didn't make a mistake. You just, and the people who are so regretful of, are they regretful of what they did, or are they regretful that they're now dealing with the aftermath of what they did?
And that's a very valid point.
So in her headspace,
did
she feel bad about this at all before it was exposed? But the other aspect is, as you point out, which is a fair point,
a DUI, real quick, a DUI and killing someone's manslaughter. And she did not, like, she didn't commit manslaughter. So, like, the right-sided kind of, like, I think cancel culture is a little too sensitive part of me wants to be like, she didn't kill someone. She said some things that are regrettable. I don't know very many people in my life who have never said regrettable things ever. No, so, like, I get it. We should be like, we should be upset at her. She should try to figure it out. She should better herself, all those things. But, like, at some point, we all deserve that opportunity, especially when we have not committed a crime.
Well, and the point that you make about rehabilitation, I don't know how it fits in this, but that there's an enlightening in life, and that maybe she didn't feel bad before, but maybe she didn't really appreciate how hurtful this stuff was.
Right.
And now that it's brought to light, maybe she is genuinely, like, enlightened is the right word. And we all go through those points where we did something or we said something, we didn't know how much it affected or how much it bothered. Or on the other side, there's sometimes we do things on a positive and we just say something or do something and it really helps someone and we had no idea that it had that effect. So we often have a greater effect, either negative or positive, on people around us that we don't even realize.
Yes. Can I give my?
That's fair. That's a fair point.
A couple of weeks ago, we were dealing with the commissioners here with the library and them wanting to remove the LGBTQ books from the storefront. And
not remove.
Relocate. And I remember, like I said to you, like when it first happened, and I'm just using myself as an example. I looked at you and I said, like, it's wrong. I don't think it's as awful as everyone's making it out to be. And I will tell you, like, 5 days later, reading and having discussions with coworkers and talking about those things, it was worse than what I thought it was. Now, if you wanted to condemn me for that 5 days later, like, what am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
So I just think that there are things that people, if you're doing something because like you're trying to understand it and you're trying to get better and all those things. If Chrissy Teigan is sitting on her couch and she's regretting it and she's trying to figure out how to be better and she understands all these things, like, I just think that's not something to just leave somebody in the corner and say, like, you're on your own for that long. Like, I think eventually people need the opportunity to, like, display that they've learned and they've moved on from it.
And I get that. And I totally agree at any level, whether you're famous and have 35 million followers or whether you're not.
Right.
But a part of the reality is I would expect that she never has 35 million followers again. And you're right. Maybe down the road she has 15 million followers.
Yeah.
And she's a better person and but she's lost half her audience. And that is, that you reap what you sow sometimes. Sure. But, you do bring up a valid point. It is, yes, I don't say criminal, but for a chance for us to all learn and grow. Yeah. And sometimes the people who were wrong, yeah. I'm just saying, if we're going to be in a world of public opinion, which is where we're going towards, like, there always was a court of public opinion. The difference was, though, it was like, it used to be you and I whispering behind a closed door. Correct. But now the court of public opinion is like social media, and it's hundreds of millions of people. And it's so, like, if we're going to have a court of public opinion that is very in the forefront, like, it's very apparent and it's visual and it's here, all I'm saying is, like, we might want to start having discussions about what that looks like when we decide to condemn somebody in the court of public opinion. Like, what does that mean for them? Like, what, as a society, when do we start to forgive? When do we start to, like, I just think those are things we should start to talk about. Because otherwise, you're just going to have a lot of people that are stuck in the corner condemned for life that could have maybe helped society, that maybe could have moved forward, that maybe could have provided a different perspective because they went through it and then they came back. We're going to lose out on those people because, like, we're just like, nope, like, go away, like, you're done. And that, I just don't want that. No, that's not where I want to be. I think something that I don't want, I never want you to come on again and say that we're approaching 1,000 members and then have a person on who has 35 million members, because that makes us look small. You think so? I think we're doing okay. 35 million. I mean, Chrissy Teigan's married to John Legend. Are you married to John Legend? Because I am not married to John Legend. Married to John Legend. Well, wasn't he? I keep saying this. Wasn't he the guy that on the TV version of Jesus Christ Superstar? Wasn't it? It was John Legend, right? Oh, that I don't know. I do not know that. Played Pontius Pilate. Okay. I think John. Maybe that's news to me. I did not know that. It wasn't Usher. I think it was John Legend. Okay. Who played Jesus. I did not know that. Yeah, it's good. I watched it with my kids. It was actually really good. Yeah. Richard Sherman today or tomorrow? What time? It's 1:10. Let's do Richard Sherman tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. Okay, we'll do Richard Sherman tomorrow. We'll end. You want to talk about the ref? Just for 5 minutes so I can get my sanity back. So even if you're not a sports fan, last night was a perfect example of how people try to manipulate, or they think they're helping, but they're not. That's what last night's basketball game was. For those of you who don't know, Game 4 of the NBA Finals, crucial game, because one of two things. It's the NBA Finals. It's the NBA Finals, but even more so because if the Suns win, they're up 3-1, and it's almost over. But if the Bucks win, they in a weird way almost become the favorite, kind of, sort of. So basically, really pivotal game. The last 14, 16 minutes, so the last quarter and a half almost, the referees basically took over this basketball game. There were missed calls. There were purposely missed calls. Wait a minute. The best player for the Phoenix Suns had 5 fouls, clubbed somebody, and the refs decided not to call it. Now, I've seen people praise it because Milwaukee still scored 2 points anyway. So the only effect on the game it would have had is you would have taken Phoenix's best player out of the game. But he clearly fouled the guy.
And they decided they thought they were doing the game a favor, the referees. And it's very obvious that they weren't.
Well, here's my point as we go. And what's funny is I sent you a text afterwards about how bad Chris Paul was. Like right when the game's over, I was like, Chris Paul was terrible.
Yes.
And you go off on this rant about if you think Chris Paul is terrible, did you see the officiating? Blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
I think in a roundabout way, as you rattle off the top of your head like 8 calls in the fourth quarter that were blatantly wrong, which I don't disagree with. But there is no sport where there is referee conspiracy theories like the NBA.
Okay.
I think as bad as the officiating crew was, which you say they should never work again.
It was awful.
Cancel culture.
It was.
I have text from you.
It was
that these guys
awful.
should never work again.
It was awful.
But from the NBA conspiracy, if you're buying into this, they wanted Milwaukee to win last night because they want the series to go longer. They want the drama. Phoenix goes into the fourth quarter with like a 9-point lead.
Yes.
It looks like, as Jeff Van Gundy said on the broadcast, Milwaukee looked dead in the water.
Yes.
And they did.
Yeah.
So if you're a conspiracy theorist, when Devin Booker, who's playing for Phoenix, clobbers the guy on a breakaway in front of everyone, you would want him fouled out to help Milwaukee because Devin Booker was the best player on Phoenix by far last night.
Correct.
He scored 174 points. So, I mean, we could just go through with some of the shots he said. I was like, that's a tough shot. I made that. That's a tough shot. He was out of this world for most of the game. So, that's the one, if there is any conspiracy theorists that they're like, no. They should have fouled the Phoenix guy out, and they didn't.
But that's why they were so bad, because there was no conspiracy.
Because they couldn't even
they couldn't even do that right. But that's like, there was no conspiracy, because like you said, there's key moments where if they really wanted to, like Milwaukee would have won this game by 15 and we would have went home.
Getting fouled on 3. Horrible calls.
Yes, and so the point, like, that's how bad they were. There's no way this was like a conspiracy thing. They just kept making awful decisions as referees. And here's the part of it. It just got to the point where they weren't reffing the game. They were reffing the moment. They thought they were helping, but they weren't. So there was a lot of like, well, we called this on the other end, so we better call this here. Or, well, like Devin Booker's got 5 fouls, so we better not call the 6th one. Or like, oh, well, Giannis doesn't want to shoot free throws, so we better call this one on the floor so Giannis doesn't shoot. Crazy stuff. The most insane one that I told you that no one's talking about. Phoenix had a player injured, laying on the court. The ref was 5 feet away from him, looked at him, handed the ball to the Milwaukee player, and Milwaukee inbounded it and went the length of the floor while the Phoenix guy is laying on the floor holding his ankle.
Never have I seen that at any level of it. Because you're right. The guy came down and fell.
Yes.
The ball went dead. The ball went out of bounds, right?
Yes.
And so the referee has to hand it to him.
Yes.
To basically say, ball back in play. And the guy is laying 5 feet in front of him.
Yes.
I have never, you would.
Usually it's the other way around. Usually coaches are upset because they'll blow it dead. Yes, they'll blow it dead intentionally, and the other team will get mad because they might have a chance to score, but they'll blow it dead because there's someone injured lying on the floor. And this referee did like a 180. Like this referee looked at him and was like, nah.
It was like when you're talking to your kid, you're like, you're fine, get up.
Yeah, no, that's
like, no. And listen, the guy wasn't done. He but he was still, he just fought, like he'd driven down, he lost his footing, he went.
Yes.
Like the floor's still hard.
Yes.
You have no pads on. Like that hurts.
Yes. The other one that I told you too that made no sense, and it happened twice in the fourth quarter. Milwaukee inbounded the ball, and they weren't standing out of bounds.
Well, partially.
They weren't standing out of bounds.
He had a foot out, and
and listen, like, I'm not saying I want them to like nitpick. Like, I'm not saying that. No. But what I'm saying is like there were a lot of basic things last night that it was just like, what is happening right now? Like, I don't even know. I said to you, and this is the most telling thing. One of the last things I said to you was like, I don't even know who is supposed to win the game. Like, I understand that, but like the refs had everything so misconstrued that after the fourth quarter, I was like, I think Milwaukee won, but like, maybe Milwaukee was supposed to, but I don't know what just happened.
I've also, the thing that I would have never thought I ever saw in basketball because Giannis is one of the best players. Did he win MVP?
Yeah, no, not this year. He won it back-to-back before.
Okay. Clearly one of the best players in the NBA.
Yes.
And in basketball, again, the argument is always when a guy gets fouled, was he shooting? He was shooting. We want him because we want our guy to go shoot free throws because free throws are easy.
Right.
This guy is going to the rim. He's getting fouled on his way up. All he's got to do is shoot the ball, and now he's passing it.
Yeah.
So they're like, no. It was on the pass, so we can inbound the ball because we would rather inbound the ball on the side than have the greatest player in the world go to the foul line.
Yeah.
Where I would have a 10th grade girl go to the foul line and shoot 75%, but the greatest player in the world has trouble hitting the rim.
Yeah, it was insane. And here's just to be fair to the referees, some of the superstar players were doing awful things. Devin Booker, with 5 fouls, basically tackling a dude with 6 minutes to go in the game. I don't know what happened to him. Chris Paul trying to I don't even know what he tried to do on the final play where he turned the ball over. It was a 2-point game.
Didn't Giannis poke it?
But here's the weird part.
There was a bad camera angle.
He's one of the smartest dudes. So smart. And take all of this with a grain of salt. I don't know how he's not dribbling it at Devin Booker and shoving the ball into his chest.
Yeah.
And it's like here you go.
My text to you basically said, for a Hall of Fame player, I've never seen a Hall of Fame player play as bad in a big game as Chris Paul played. Who's the little lefty guard that comes off the bench for Phoenix?
Campaign.
He was so much when he was in the game, I was like, now they have a chance.
There was a smoother fluidity to it. But so it's not even the turnovers are physical mistakes. People turn the ball over, people miss shots. Life happens. But just the mental, he just lost his mind at the end of the game. And then Giannis, I don't know if you saw Giannis. There were a couple of times he would go after offensive rebounds, and he would crawl over the Phoenix Suns center and slap at the ball with no chance of getting it. And then Phoenix would get to walk down to the other end and shoot free throws 94 feet away with 5 minutes to go because Giannis is tackling people trying to get.
The guy in the face.
So I was watching the game and I was not only are the refs atrocious, I don't even know if the players are in the game. I don't even think if they're thinking.
Day off got them a little too wound.
It must have. It was bizarre. Now, here's the insane part. I tell you all the time, I think the NBA is better than college because college is exciting because it's kids making mistakes. And the NBA is exciting because it's the best in the world making plays. After last night, that I don't know what that was because the NBA game last night wasn't exciting because NBA guys were making plays. It was exciting because the refs and the greatest players in the games lost their minds. Nobody actually was making, if it was not for Chris Middleton, if it wasn't for Chris Middleton in the last 12 minutes, that might have been the worst quarter of basketball I've seen in a long, long, long time.
And Chris Middleton he is the most boring special player in the NBA.
He is
there's nothing about him that you're he's not a highlight reel, he's not, and all he does is make shots and make plays, and he is where did he play in college?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
That's how boring. And his name is Chris. It's not LeBron. It's not Giannis.
I think it's Chris.
It's not Kobe.
I think it's Chris Khris too.
Oh, is it?
I think so. Okay. Pretty neat spelling of it.
But,
So that's my NBA Finals rant.
Middleton was good.
He was good
because I texted you and I got much more of a mouthful than I was expecting. So yeah,
that was good. Real quick, we'll do some comments here before we head out. I want to try to pick the ones that make the most sense because we obviously had a lot about the dog case. I wish there was an option to bet on the officials or have an officials fantasy league. That'd be pretty good, Pat. That would be, they have all the data on that. They have whistles and calls, who makes what calls and where on the floor. It's some of the data stuff. But here's the scary part. They've released some of it so you can see. And it is crazy, how the human brain, the tendencies and what you're, some refs, 70% of their calls are this. And other refs, they call it once the whole year. It is. And to me, it's scary because it really shows they make such an impact. Who you have what night it really changed the way I looked at it, like looking at that data.
Well, I'll tell you this, not to go off on a tangent, but it's one of the things that you do successfully as a coach, better than a lot of people, is as you said, the referees are such an important part of the game, but you can't do anything about it. So like, all you can do is what you can do.
Yes.
And the more that the coaches and players get wrapped up in the officiating, the more they get driven away from the focus of
what we're doing.
And it is a necessary skill for great athletes to be able to block it out and turn the page and just play the next play. Yeah. And there are a lot of people that suck at it, and that's one of the things that you do well. Yeah. That you do better than most.
You and I joke, like 99% of the time, I don't know who's reffing our game until they walk through the door, which most coaches are checking, like they're looking during the day. Yeah. Most of the time you can find out. Most of the time.
We always found out during the JV game when they walked in.
Most of the time you can find out. I mean, whether it's texting or talking, or they'll say, I got this game, that game. Like most of the time by the day of the game, you know who's reffing your game. I do not. Like, I don't know who it is until they're walking like through the door.
If you need to know who the refs are, it's a problem.
It is a problem. And the other part of it too, and I joked about this, like, I am chummy with all of them. I try to be polite to them. I try to smile and talk with them. And I couldn't tell you their names. And most of that is intentional. Like, I don't want to be able to yell like, hey, John, hey, Chuck, what were you like? I want to try.
You yell, hey, dumbass. That's how you.
I want them to be almost invisible as possible. It's hard. It's hard, but I think but for me personally, not knowing their names helps me with that.
But from like officiating at practice, it is difficult.
It's an impossible job.
I've umpired a lot of Little League, and I've refereed a lot of basketball. And Little League, umpiring baseball is not as easy as it looks, but it's not nearly as hard as basketball. Parts of basketball, it's impossible.
I joked with our AD for years, like, you couldn't pay me enough to ref a game. Like, if you came to me and said,
you would do well, but you can't do perfect. Not in basketball. No,
I said, like, if you told me you'd give me $250 to ref a varsity basketball game, I think I'd say no.
No, you wouldn't.
I do. I have no interest in it, and I know how awful it is. Like, I have no interest in that. We've talked before. I'm not. Maybe we've talked before about this too. There are certain jobs in which you're kind of like.
No one's listening right now, by the way.
That's fine.
I haven't made that announcement.
Thanks.
But no one.
There's certain jobs where you just know, like, the incentive, like, it's not that people who do these jobs are bad people, but like, you have to ask, why do they want to do that job? Whether it's like a school board member or what was the other one we talked about the one day, where it's kind of like politicians sometimes, like things like that. Like
bounty hunter.
Like, no, but like politicians, school board, like there are jobs in which like there's a power and a control that comes with it. And you need to explain your motive of why you would want to do this thing. And reffing is kind of like that. I don't think refs are bad people, just like I don't think school board members are or politicians necessarily. Like, but what I'm saying is, like, I can't wrap my head around why I would want to ref, why I would want the ability and the power and the control to do that. I don't.
Here's why I umpire Little League. Because somebody has to do it or they won't be able to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be better at it than most people because I've just been around baseball.
Okay.
And I get it. So that's why.
So you do it out of scarcity, and you do it out of scarcity, and you do it out of like the goodness, like a public goodness. You think you're doing a public goodness.
Call me when you need me list.
Okay.
And yes.
Okay.
But you would do a lot better at basketball than you think.
Maybe. I just have very little interest in it. Very little interest. This is topic for this winter. The curious case of how Jeff can't get a call on the road in Montoursville. That's a good one.
Crap.
That's a good one.
Listen.
That might be it.
Get calls everywhere they go. Everywhere they go. It is sickening.
I don't know about that one.
Sickening.
I don't know about that one.
Joe, have you ever been to games where the referees aren't wearing black and white, they're wearing maroon and white? Haven't you been to those? You
good?
Sickening. I'm done now.
You're good. Kelly, think the dog napping is a case of if he said, she said. I think they need a mediator, doggy domestics.
She doesn't know.
She doesn't.
But part of the doggy domestics is mediation.
Yes, it is mediation. So www.doggydomestics.com.
You're going to have people going.
And you can, I'm going to look, listen, if you think I'm not looking it up right after the show and buying the domain name for $12, you're out of your mind. Doggy Domestics is going to be a thing. Joe says, Mark, we call those home games. So there you go.
Yeah,
that's good.
All of the games are home games.
Okay. All right. Listen, not to toot our own horn. That was a great show. The you don't think so? You got to stop saying that.
I'm going to go home in a depression all day because we don't have 35 million followers.
It's like Chrissy Teigan?
Yeah.
Maybe Chrissy will come on since she's bored on the couch. She said yesterday she's bored on the couch at home. Maybe she'd come on and talk.
She wouldn't come here and talk, obviously, because she's great. It would be fascinating to talk to that element. I like Matt Lauer. Who else? Kevin Spacey. Louis C.K.
Yeah, but there's a legality. The people you're saying there's a legality concept to the discussion. Hers is like there is no.
Hers is Roseanne Barr.
Yes. So I think it would be fascinating to talk to those people where like they haven't broken the law. There's no legal issues, but yet they are in this like public opinion purgatory and kind of like. What is that like? And what do you think where is it heading? Like, do you think this is going to last a week, a month, a year, a decade? Like that part would be fascinating to talk to those people.
Yeah. And I guess not to backtrack, but her thing is she had all these followers because so many people liked her. Now, after what she did, so many people don't like her.
Yeah.
And so the question becomes now, well, how do I turn around and make people like me again?
Right.
And you can't make someone like you. And that's...
Yeah.
So then it comes to the audience, should we like her again? And then it even goes to a step further. Why did we like her in the first place? Because and I'm not a follower, you're not a follower. No. So why did you like her? Mm-hmm. And does that reason mean that what she did is forgivable?
Yeah.
Or is it not? Or if you're just like if it's I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. If a Dallas Cowboy goes out and beats his wife, I don't like the guy anymore. And
sure.
I'm not going to like him again.
Right.
So, why did I like him in the first place? Just because he was a Cowboy. If he'd have been a Chicago Bear, I'd have never liked him. So, it also how shallow is not the word. Circumstantial or not superficial. That's the word.
Okay.
How superficial was the relationship to begin with?
Yeah.
So yeah, it does.
You bring up a neat point because one of the things now, like with TikTok it started kind of like with the Instagram, but now TikTok, like people have taken off on TikTok. Like the way it used, like you had to build an Instagram following and how long it took to build up your following. TikTok, it's like exponentially quicker. Like people can become celebrities almost overnight on TikTok, like millions of followers, like in 48 hours. But the interesting part is what they're finding is a lot of these people, like it's a bell curve again. Like they reach it and they can't keep it because there's no context. It's superficial. Like you followed because you thought the guy or the girl was attractive, or because they were in a swimsuit, and then like after the second or third video, they realize like, oh, there's nothing here actually. Like there's nothing keeping me coming back to it. So one of like the craziest part is you get these people who get these like 5 million followers, and then all of a sudden, like 3 months later, they're like out of the zeitgeist. Like it's like they don't.
Out of the
zeitgeist? Did I say that wrong? Zeitgeist?
I don't know. I've never heard it.
I'll have to look it up. I've heard that before.
I didn't know.
So anyway,
I just learned something.
Spring says slightly stale graham crackers are good. They're a little soft like a cookie, going along with your popcorn thing.
I would agree with. Have you ever?
I've never had that.
They're softer because graham crackers are hard, and when it's slightly stale, it is kind. I never related it to a cookie, but yes, stale graham crackers do not suck.
Zeitgeist, the defining spirit or mood of a particular period or history, as shown by the ideas and beliefs of the time or whoever was defining it.
Well, look at that. There we go.
So I think I used it in the right. Yeah, I think I used it in the right
Never
context.
heard that word before.
Yeah, I did all right. Yeah, I'm not. I think I'm out. Here's the crazy part. I'm all in on leftovers. You've kind of lost me on the stale part, like the popcorn and the.
I don't know why stale popcorn is. It's one of those you have the bowl you fall asleep, you wake up in the morning, it's right there. You just it's delicious.
Okay.
Delicious.
Okay. And then to end, Heather, pizza should not be cold.
I agree. I don't like cold pizza.
I love it. Love it.
No.
Love it. And listen, I love it when it's warm the night before. I like it when it's warm the night before, but like that cold pizza morning, it is cold pizza's great. Great. Almost as good as cold French fries.
Wait, what?
Almost as good as cold French fries.
I think I just threw up in my mouth.
Cold French fries are delicious.
What is wrong?
So good. Cold leftovers, dude. That's where it's at. That's the move.
Now you can't reheat French fries. They are unreheatable. If that's a word.
Possible. All right, we'll end with this one. Jeff is also describing why some relationships don't make it to the fourth date. Which is
because you realize that she was just good luck, or in your
possible.
Case, they were just overwhelmed with your.
I told you, I'm like a third or fourth date guy. Like they actually start to like me the fourth time they see me. The first two times, like I'm just a dude. Like I just like blend in. Like I've never had someone like first time they've met me been like that guy, like ever.
I've told people very much that I'm an acquired taste.
Yes, 100%.
I do well in crowds. I do not immediately. I don't do well one-on-one. It takes a while for people, and I've had lots of because I've coached 1,000 different levels, and I've had parents that tell me, and a lot of it's because my brother was a Hall of Fame baseball player. And they're like, I never knew what to expect.
Sure.
When I got you, or they know that I'm a little loud and I'm a little
sure.
obnoxious, and they're like, I didn't know what to expect until my kid played for you.
Yeah.
And now I see it in a different light.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've told people that too. I don't know, third or fourth date, that would be interesting. I think
I joke with my girlfriend all the time. You almost have to see me like back like before COVID and when I was younger, you almost had to see me out at the bar like 3 or 4 times before you would like approach me or you would be interested in me. Like, because I have friends, like I have some friends that it's like they walk in somewhere and like girls are just like, who is that? Like it's just like automatic. They just have whatever it is, whether it's looks or height or the way they commute, like whatever it is, like they are just like style. I don't know. I am like by the 3rd or 4th time, they're like, who's kind of funny? Like, who's kind of like, yeah, like that is, so it is funny how like for some people.
Acquired taste.
Yeah.
Because it also goes back to, we've talked before about how my ex used to always tell me people don't know when you're kidding.
Oh, no.
Because people,
I run into it with you all the time.
Relationship, they're like, is he serious?
Yeah.
I think he's serious.
Yeah.
When he just, because I insult people and we walk in and I greet people with
a slur.
Some sort of, yes.
This is the best. I can't wait for your what's the word I'm looking for? I can't wait for your workplace
review,
not your review, but for it to go public. Did you watch Entourage? Okay. So the boss, he gets outed for like his workplace humiliation or his workplace demeanor or whatever else. So I'm really excited for your public workplace demeanor to be publicized.
I'm nice to everyone.
Oh, you're insanely nice to everyone. just different.
The whole boring hello, how are you? That bores me to tears.
No, I'm with you.
It is not. I'm not walking into any place ever and saying hello. How are you?
Listen. I will give you credit for this. No one is going to forget you when you walk out. No one's ever forgotten. Like when they walked away, has forgotten you, ever.
I'm sure there's a lot of head shakes after I walk away.
I'm not saying. It's a compliment. I'm telling you, like you make an impact on the room.
I try.
All right. Anything else before we go?
No.
That was
thank
good.
you to Wise Markets again for all that they do. to sponsor us here at the Midday Show. And I was there yesterday. I haven't been there yet today, but I was there yesterday. And we're looking at Game 5. And I know when we talk NBA Finals, we turn a lot of people off, but it's good.
That was good.
There's only 3 left. It's 2-2. Like, this is what it's all about. Both teams have held serve at home. And so Game 5 is such a big, because Phoenix won Game 1 and 2, and everyone thinks it's over. Milwaukee wins Game 3 and 4, and now Phoenix they've got the comfort of going home, where they've kicked ass twice. They've won by double digits both games, but right now Milwaukee has all the momentum, and Chris Middleton thinks he's going to make every shot he ever takes.
Yep.
So it's Friday night.
Yep.
Friday night is because it was Wednesday.
Yep.
It will be a fun Friday night.
It will be. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to go to NorthcentralPa.com for all your local news. I'm Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. Thanks for watching The Midday Show.
And we'll cover Richard Sherman tomorrow.
Yes.
Chris Sherman.
I don't know.
Richard Sherman.